you've ever driven around this area in any capacity, you'll know that the turn signals never turn on.
The turn signal is the spleen of the automobile. Something that was once used by the ancients, but is no longer used. It just isn't used.
The tradition has finally died.
I hear it used to be.
Yeah, back in olden days, when cars didn't drive themselves and weren't powered by, whale oil or whatever, and we used to use those things. It was a big deal. And we used them to let people know what we were going to do.
I hear BMWs don't even have them.
Why would you have them?
Because anyone who drives a BMW owns the road. Well, don't you know that?
I was driving with somebody yesterday.
BMWs and 18-wheelers.
I won't say her name. She knows who she is. And she used the turn signal right in the middle of a turn. And I said, do you understand the concept of the turn signal? It's to alert people you're making the turn. It's why does everybody have to be in a Vulcan mind meld with other drivers to read and predict what they're doing? The turn signals, I believe I believe, and this will never go over because everything's been dumbed down so much that there needs to be brake lights on the front of the car.
What?
Yeah, because I like to know when I'm going through the intersection, is that guy slowing down? Because he doesn't look like he's slowing down, or when somebody's pulling out, is he stopped?
You know what?
Backup lights on the front of the car too.
Well, there's that too. They're called headlights, but anyway.
No.
I'd really like to see oops, I didn't realize. Nope, my bad light.
As much as I hate the phrase "my bad,"
and a thank you.
I would support just the appropriate
a my
term
bad
for
button.
it.
Yeah, something where you just two hands come up and go "my bad."
Yep.
Yeah,
and that would end so much road rage and everything.
You know what? Something that makes the taillights get brighter as you press harder on the brake. So if somebody slams on the brake, it's like a really bright brake. And if somebody's just tapping on it because they're on their phone like an idiot.
Right.
It's just like really dim brake lights.
Yeah, and how about some regulation of what lights we can put in our cars so that there's some consistency and standard, because some of these lights are blinding at night and glare off the road and they're just too bright. And even some of as much as I like blinky lights on vehicles, I've seen some emergency lights that are blinding on these foggy nights where it bounces, where it really they need to have
causing more harm
potentially. And I think that you have to have some kind of sensor that picks up the bounce back and adjusts the lights accordingly. Just like I believe that if you're on the road after dark, that you should have 500 square inches of reflective on you on the road, because I see so many people that are walking down and they're road ninjas, and there are people driving down the road texting, and we get many cases where people get clipped. One's about to get solved soon, where somebody gets clipped by somebody who's texting.
How about those people who at like dusk, they don't have their headlights on at all?
Right.
Like, not even markers, just a vehicle.
Right.
Like, I didn't know you were there. I was about to turn.
Well, and then the people, no headlights, no wipers on when it rains. It's like you want to remote control their car, I think there should be something in every car where if like 5 people enter your tag number, they can override your car and shut it down.
Your tag number should be your phone number.
Yeah, that sounds. I didn't say it was a complete plan.
You know what? The license plate should also be your phone number, that I can call you up and complain in your ear.
Yeah. I do think that there should be something like that, but I like the "my bad" button.
I would use it a lot.
You know what? People would ignore it just like they do the turn signals.
Maybe.
No, I think that the "my bad" button could go a long way to easing tension between drivers, because it's like sometimes you'll let somebody in, and you'll wave them through. Or somebody will be doing some bad driving behavior, and then they'll just do the "my bad" or whatever, and you go, "It's okay, it's okay." You want to be given the opportunity to go, "It's okay. I'm a human being. You're a human being. We'll be safe." But if the person goes by you and they don't, you go, "I let them in. They didn't even give me a wave. Nothing."
So should there be like a thank you, or you're good, or like a middle finger? Like, are we gonna go a full range of like road rage buttons?
No, we don't want to get in a race. We should start with...
We need something.
My bad and we good. You know? Just start with those two. My bad and we good. You know? There should just be, you know, driving auto name calling, you know, which is what it'll turn into. Cars will just be going down the road, just blasting messages, turning the rolling digital billboards. It'll get out of hand.
Essentially sending shorthand texts.
Yeah, they'll be texting
but in lights.
Yeah, and it'll just be worse. So we've just come full circle and make
Let's
the world
just
worse
scrap
again.
that idea.
Yeah. So what do you do? You knit. You're going to your you're taking your library. Of course, you set up a small free library. They have those in the city. I see them. I don't see them as much out here where they have the little boxes, and it's like, I think that's really cool.
Oh, the little free library?
Yeah, the little, you know, book exchange or whatever. And in Mount Airy, they're all over the place because Mount Airy's always got to be more hip than everyone else, you know. They've got there's a lot of them, and I think it's a good idea. I think reading is a good idea, and that sounds weird, but people don't do it that much anymore, and
there's some good stuff out there too.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
Find what's right for you.
Yeah, you know, books are like movies, but with less movement, you know.
I mean, not if you're doing it right.
Well, you're talking about engaging imagination. I don't think people do that. That's like radio is theater of the mind, and people have to imagine who we are, what we look like, what we're doing. You know, that we're both sitting here in top hats and tuxes or whatever. They can imagine whatever works for them. Theater, or any visual thing, you have to pick out and you'll see something sometimes. And I see it when they have a movie and they take something I've known for years, like if they take a comic book adaptation and they put it on a screen, and I go, that is not what I thought he looked at. That is not what I thought he sounded like. And then I get stuck on a wrong thing. And a book is even better because a book is totally your imagination. It just goes through. And the book, no matter what it is, the book is always better than the movie.
It's true.
It's always better than a movie because they cut so much out for Hollywood and to make it work or whatever. The book is always better. And then that's the real book. That's not the audio book because those are also highly edited.
I don't think I've ever listened to an audiobook.
Oh, so we're an audiobook snob.
I just don't know. I don't think I'd ever think about it. If I'm going to go get a book, like I'm going to like sit down and read it, like if I'm on the go, when I would be listening to one, I'd be listening to like a podcast or, you know, Spotify or something.
Oh, but we've found a little bit of darkness in you.
I guess so.
You snub your nose at audiobook. I am an audiobook listener, and I'm quite offended.
I'm sure it's great. I just never, I don't know, I never thought about it.
It's not great. It's not great.
Oh, it's disappointing.
It's an alternative, and what I use it for is I will try, and if I don't have time for a book, and I'm not going to have time to read it, I use the book. Sometimes I'll do the audiobook while I'm driving or whatever, and I like listening to that. But what I found recently is that it's really cool to listen to them to go to sleep. And then what happens is when I'm listening to them asleep, my mind picks out the 8 things I want to find more out of the book and kind of bookmarks them. But that can backfire you too, because I was doing something where I was listening to it while I was asleep and it changed languages on me and I woke up all confused. So you got to be careful what you're doing with the brain while you're sleeping. But
I didn't remember learning Latin.
Yeah. Well, if you have trouble sleeping, anything for us ancient Greek mythology, Latin, that's like just put your brain into a coma right there. But you said you'll listen to a podcast, which is a form of audio. I don't know that it's an audio book, but it's a form of something similar.
Radio show.
Yeah.
I usually just listen to a lot of NPR or just. I listen to a Harry Potter podcast, and I enjoy that very much.
Oh, I was going to throw a Harry Potter comparison at you, but I said, no, don't take the low road. Don't think you know her. Don't go there. And then you just said Harry Potter.
Of course.
You've read all the books.
I mean, yes. Several times.
They used to have a Harry Potter festival in Chestnut Hill. Did you partake?
I went a couple years ago, and I think it had gotten so overblown that it was not fun because there was no parking, there was just too many people, and I think in the early stages it could have been very fun.
I drive right through the heart of that menagerie, and I had been sick and out of commission for a couple days, and I got back on the road. I was fired at 50%, and I was just getting cabin fever. So I'm driving, and I'm trying not to just phase out. I did not know, and they need to put more signs up telling people that it's the Harry Potter day. Because I watch people walk away, and a certain amount of freaky, you just say, oh, people are just getting weirder, and then you start noticing, like, wait, it's everybody. And it's real easy if you've been sick and out of commission for a couple of days to convince yourself to, like, uh-oh, something happened. Something happened. Everybody, it's everywhere, and they're trying to outdo each other. Did you go there in costume?
I think I wore a scarf that I knit, of course. It was a themed scarf.
Just a scarf? Isn't that not fully committing? I mean, these people I saw, this was like a Star Trek thing.
Oh, yeah. People get very into it. I'm not the biggest into cosplay, so I don't have, like, robes cosplay? And everything. I would say it is.
What's the difference between just putting on a costume and cosplay?
Well, I think putting on a costume is just wearing a costume. But if you're cosplaying, you're kind of like, you're embodying it. You're getting into the theme of it, too.
I saw lots of people wearing costumes, and I felt that there needs to be somebody that, like, validates your parking, approves your use of that costume. I saw people that were either aged out of the costume they were in or whatever. And it's like, are you supposed to be, like, really old Harry Potter? Because is he, like, younger?
That's kind of fun, though. It just shows that it's for any age.
I guess so. Did you go with anybody? Did they go in costume? Or?
I think we're pretty much dressed the same.
So it's a scarf cosplay or a costume?
I think it's an accessory to emphasize your appreciation of the theme.
Ooh. You've really overthought this.
It shows you're a fan, but, that you're just here to have a good time and not, be, like, into it.
Okay, so you're not fully into it, but you're also not just an ignorant, confused member of the public who doesn't know what's going down here.
I'm very into it in my own way.
Okay, so you're very independent. So you'd go to the Harry Potter thing dressed like a Klingon or something. Just...
Well, that's just crazy.
Well, that's just crazy talk now. Before they had cosplay, I remember going up to Comic-Con and seeing the amount of work that people put in the costumes, and it was really neat. And I remember one year, a friend of mine is no longer with us. He was into Star Trek before it was a thing, and he was like a pioneer in being a nerd. And I went to the Comic-Con, and his Star Trek group was doing security for Comic-Con for the thing. And so they had, and I wasn't into it really. And then what happened was they all got their shirts, and you had your yellow shirt, your security. And because I knew I didn't want a red shirt because you've got like the life expectancy of like ribs and barbecue.
You're not going to make it through that con.
Yeah, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Red shirts don't make it. And so I said I'd help him out and everything. And then once he said, well, do you want a shirt? Well, then just a switch got thrown. Of course, I want a shirt. And then they had the little comm badge. It's like, well, how do I get a comm badge? And then all of a sudden, you just get sucked in, and the next thing you know, you're getting makeup put on or something. That didn't happen, but I could have seen it happen. But I look at now that the way Comic-Con has become a lifestyle for some people. Some people live for it, and
people put thousands of hours into their costumes.
Yeah,
it's insane.
I had a buddy, a guy I work with, who did the furry